Welcome back to the Curriculum Hotspot Explainer series presented by the Science Office. In this video, we're going to go over High School Standard ESS 2-7. Let's start off with reading the performance expectation. It says that we'll construct an argument based on evidence about the simultaneous coevolution of Earth systems and life on Earth. Our clarification statement is emphasis is on the dynamic causes, effects, and feedbacks between the biosphere and Earth's other systems, whereby geoscience factors control the evolution of life, which in turn continuously alters Earth's surface. Examples include how photosynthetic life altered the atmosphere through the production of oxygen, which in turn increased weathering rates and allowed for the evolution of animal life. How microbial life on land increased from the formation of soil, which in turn allowed for the evolution of land plants, or how the evolution of corals created reefs that altered patterns of erosion and deposition along coastlines and provided habitats for the evolution of new life forms. We do have an assessment boundary for this performance expectation, which states that the assessment does not include a comprehensive understanding of the mechanisms of how the biosphere interacts with all Earth's other systems. So for this performance expectation, the first thing we really want students to know is the relationship between the lack of free oxygen in the early atmosphere and, as a result, the lack of complex life. Here's that emphasis on the cause and effects relationships between the biosphere and Earth's other systems. The atmosphere was so toxic, just a little water vapor, some sulfur, methane, and way more carbon dioxide than we have now. So as a result, the evolution of life was really at a standstill. Students should know that all of the life at this time was composed of anaerobic organisms, organisms that cannot live in the presence of oxygen and don't rely on the presence of oxygen to survive. Aerobic organisms did not come along until much later. So now we'll fast forward several million years and focus on the arrival of cyanobacteria, what is thought to be the first photosynthetic organism. This is what's commonly known as the Great Oxygenation Event. By this time, students know photosynthesis uses carbon dioxide and produces oxygen. So as the atmospheric oxygen levels increased, oxidation reactions occurred, which began to increase weathering rates. In tandem with this, microbial life increased and soil formed. Each cause led to an effect that contributed to the coevolution of life and Earth's other systems. So this standard does have an assessment boundary, which states that a comprehensive understanding of the mechanisms of how the biosphere interacts with all of Earth's other systems is not needed. So with that said, attention should be given to oxygen as an output of photosynthesis, but a deep understanding of all those other chemical reactions like cellular respiration and decomposition and oxidation is not necessary. So to introduce this topic with students, we're going to look at a phenomena dealing with photosynthesis. This particular scenario can be done as an actual lab or a demo, or you can just discuss the scenario with the students. So 2 candles are lit on a bench. You're going to cover both at the same time with a jar, except that one of the candles has a plant next to it, which is also closed inside of the jar. You can get students wondering about what the presence of the plant does. Does the amount of oxygen that the plant is giving off have anything to do with how long the candles will stay lit? Again, these inquiry-based activities or discussions are great for assessing your students, finding out what they know, and addressing any misconceptions early on. So the first activity that we want to share with you is the history of oxygen stations. So students will use different resources to engage in higher level thinking activities around the history of Earth's oxygen and the resulting evolution of complex life. If you click on the link, you'll be asked to make a copy of this document, which is going to open up all of the instructions as well as the links to the directions page and each of the activities that you would embed in the stations. So as a suggestion, the Watch It and the Read It stations are much more informational, whereas the Analyze It, Explore, and Create It really kind of require a deeper understanding about the topic. So maybe if you can order the stations to do those Watch It and Read It first, then the students can cycle through the last 3 at their own pace. The Watch It station uses a video Embedded in a Nearpod with questions, the Read It station uses an article with some Avid sequencing graphic organizers. The Analyze It station is based on analyzing graphs and answering those graph dependent questions. The Explore It station is a web quest with a student sheet, and the Create It station is a comic strip that the students will actually make, and there's a template provided for you. Our second resource example is the cyanobacteria dating profile. This one usually yields hysterical results with my high school students, and I hope you guys will find it enjoyable as well. So, the students have an opportunity to get creative and create a dating profile for the cyanobacteria. As you guys get through the content of the lesson, you'll learn that cyanobacteria triggered a mass extinction, which killed off almost all of the anaerobic bacteria. And the kids usually have a pretty fun way of tying that into their dating profiles. It's a great creative way to assess the kids. Sometimes we do it as an extension or a homework. And like I said, the results are usually fairly entertaining for grading and sharing with classmates. The third and final resource example is the Age of Oxygen web quest. This is more of a traditional activity to do with the kids if you need to incorporate technology and have the students using their Chromebooks. So they're going to explore the coevolution of life and Earth's other systems. Usually, when it's a big web quest like this, sometimes the work can be a little bit ambiguous. And so, if you need to level it for your students, modify it by creating some guiding questions or maybe jigsaw the different pages, that might be useful for students that need that kind of structure. So, that is all for this episode of the Curriculum Hotspot Explainer series presented by the Science Office. Thank you for watching.